The KVI studio line, Julie Jaman and her attorney, Eric Sell from the Center for American Liberty. Thank you both for being here today.
You're welcome.
So, Julie,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Julie, what are you hoping to get out of this? Because at this point, it's become a national story. At this point, I would assume the YMCA has lost people who want to go there. What are you looking for from them?
Let me just preface with the pool is actually a community pool belonging to the school district, and it's contracted through the city to the YMCA to manage it.
Gotcha.
Well, what I hoped for was the end to the persecution I've been receiving for bringing up this subject. And of course, I hope to swim again, depending on what's happened at the pools and its management and policies and interior availability for privacy. And the biggest one of all is that this is a huge matter in terms of women's civil rights and human rights. They have lost their right to privacy and safety, as well as children losing their right to safety.
I completely agree with you. As the father of a daughter, I would go ballistic if there was a biological male in the change room with my daughter while she's getting ready to go to the pool.
Right.
Okay. So now, Julie...
let me say, in our pool, you didn't have that choice because there was no warning that was going to happen.
That's what I wanted to ask you. So did they give you... There was no warning about a policy change, nothing like that? You just came in one day and there's a dude there?
Yes, that's right.
Gotcha. Now, have you been subjected to any threats, any discrimination outside of the pool and the agencies involved running the pool itself? Has there been any blowback from the community against you?
Other than friends and acquaintances and other community activists not speaking with me anymore, other than social media sending out just incredibly disgusting comments about me, or the local papers and churches continuing to disparage me. Nothing else.
I like your candor there, Julie. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. So, Eric, why don't you tell us about the lawsuit? What direction are you guys taking with this?
Right. Well, as Julie said, this is government property. The YMCA has management authority over this pool, but the city of Port Townsend is responsible for the pool. It's a community pool. The city pays the YMCA, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to manage the pool for it. So this is government property, which means the Constitution applies there. And what happened here was Julie spoke up when she saw a man in the women's locker room. She didn't know about this policy. She didn't know that this person identified as transgender. She thought she might be witnessing a crime, so she spoke up, and she got banned for it. The First Amendment doesn't allow that. The government can't ban you from government property, from the community pool, for engaging in protected speech under the First Amendment. Yet that's exactly what happened here. So this lawsuit, it really is designed to assert Julie's First Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution.
So this is more of a First Amendment case than a discrimination case, is what you're saying?
Yes, although there is an element of discrimination here. I mean, you could think about it as a First Amendment violation. You could also think about it as a discrimination case because they discriminated against Julie for speaking out, for exercising her First Amendment rights. And then the city and the YMCA then engaged in this smear campaign against her to an attempt to justify the ban, to make it seem like Julie is something she's not, that she's a serial harasser, a bigoted individual. None of this is true. So in that sense, it's also discrimination.
Now, Eric, this also kind of feels like reverse discrimination because it seems like everybody's so worried about offending the people in the trans community that they're discriminating against an actual biological woman. Is that any aspect? Is that playing in this at all?
I think that's kind of an overarching issue with all of this is, this was an incident that happened in the community pool. Julie acted very reasonably in objecting to a man being in the women's locker room. I think most people would object to that. Most sensible people would. But this whole issue has gotten so polarized and so ideologically driven that, people in the Port Townsend community immediately wanted to show how much of an ally they are to the LGBTQ plus community. So they immediately took the, quote unquote, pro-trans side in this situation and just threw common sense out the window.
In the last few minutes, we have with Julie Jaman and Eric Sell from the Center for American Liberty. Julie is suing the YMCA and many other agencies, including the city of Port Townsend, involved in banning banning her from the pool where she just wanted to go swimming. Julie, I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute here, but if this was me, I would want to win the case and not go back. I would want to be like, yeah, I established my right. I proved you guys were wrong, but I don't want to be in a place that discriminates against people, that hates my guts. Is this a place you want to go back to afterwards? Is it the only pool in the neighborhood?
Oh, well, yes, it's the only pool in the neighborhood for 40 or 50 miles.
Gotcha.
Would I want to go back? I would need to see what has happened in the facility in terms of creating privacy and safety for women and children. And I would want to see that the staff people have gotten some good training, because that was one of my recommendations to the city council for all the city staff. They definitely need training in this issue.
Yeah, for me, I'd be a little bit more hardcore. I'd say I want people fired, but that's just me. I'm not saying you have to be like me, but that's just the direction I would take it in. So, Julie, for you right now, you've basically been denied your opportunity to go to this pool based on discrimination. Has this changed your mindset regarding anything at all? Have you second-guessed yourself, or have you gotten more solidified in your beliefs?
I understand much more deeply what is happening here, shall we say, at a global level. And I see this as a paradigm shift in the 21st century away from everything human beings as a species have understood for thousands and thousands of years. And it is, there is no doubt that this has to be brought forward by any means necessary, so that the community at large can find its common sense and understand why it was that women, always second-class citizens, need to have their civil rights about spaces where they can be private and safe. I have no doubt about it. I am more confirmed than ever in going forward with this.
I'll tell you something, Julie, is that I've been following your case since I first got a radio show. I think your story is actually one of the first stories we did here on the show. And I'm really rooting for you, or really pulling for you, because I think you're fighting for more than just yourself. I think you're fighting for all the women who are being discriminated against in this crazy woke culture we have going on there. And we're behind you, Julie.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you joining us today. That's Julie Jaman and Eric Sell from the Center for American Liberty. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
We got a whole lot more to discuss.
I've been brought down to my knees, and I've been pushed way past the point of breaking, but I can't take it